Hi guys, welcome to the new lesson. Today we're going to talk about the heel-toe technique. A lot of people sometimes are confused by the name of this technique because they think that the heel-toe is actually played one stroke with the heel and one stroke with the toe. Instead, we will see today the exact motions that we have to do to learn the heel-toe. And it's a great technique for speed. It's a great technique to improve your control and double strokes, elasticity of your ankle, and also for the shifting between legs and ankles techniques. So let's go and see all the details to learn the heel-toe technique. First of all, we will start as we usually do, working without the pedal, just controlling our body, learning to coordinate this motion, which is a little bit tricky. It's not as instinctive as other motions are, and there are many details that we have to pay attention to play this technique in the right way. The first step is going to be raising our leg completely, having the toe of the foot facing down, so below the level of the heel, and the first stroke it's going to still be with the toes. We're not going to play in this way. We're not going to do this, which wouldn't actually do anything on the pedal, but we will do a down stroke with the leg. So it's a leg, kind of a leg motion here, and as we land with our foot, instead of just keeping it flat like with the leg motion, we will raise our toe in this way. So, and then from here we're going to do a tap with our toe and go back up. It's very important when we work without the pedal to feel the phlegm sound when we land and not a flat sound, because the flat sound means that we're going to do this, because it means that we're putting our heel down first. Instead, the phlegm sound means that we're actually landing with the toes and then with the heel, and then raise our toes immediately, and then basically when we do another upstroke, we play another tap. So if we think of a leg motion and then we just add the tap, the motion that we're doing is the same. This is also good for coordinating this exercise, this technique, to concentrate on the leg motion and just think of adding a tap on the upstroke motion of the leg. So let's start to, once we broke the motion down and we can coordinate it and we understand how it works, we can start to make it a constant motion. And then we'll of course do the same thing with our left foot. And then we can go on the pedal working without the spring. And here the positions are going to be position 1, so we raise our leg completely without pressing the pedal. We do a leg motion, and instead of choking the pedal against the pad, we follow the pedal back only with the toes without raising the heel. And then from there we will do the tap going back to position 1. So it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and we can start speeding it up. Let's make sure we don't have a shuffle kind of feeling, but we have a regular motion here, that the space between the notes are even. And this is quite difficult because we're using two different motions of the ankle, and so we will have to pay attention to the spaces between the notes. It's very common to do. That's why it's also used a lot for double strokes. Okay, so once we get to this part, let's remember that we have to always stay synchronized to the pedal, and so don't hit the pedal, but stay unison to it. Of course, we're going to do the same thing with our left foot. And then we can put the spring back on and start working on the pedal with the spring, which of course it's going to be very different because the spring will require us to have a constant motion. So we will have to adapt the motion to the needs of the spring. So we won't be able to go slower than what the spring requires us. So if it's too fast or too slow, you want to adjust the settings of the spring. So we will have to follow the spring and adapt to the spring, and then in time speed it up. And as you can see, with a very little effort from the leg motion, you can obtain a decent speed, a pretty good speed from this technique. So basically what's happening is that I play one stroke on the downstroke and one stroke on the upstroke. So with one motion of the leg, I'm playing two strokes. So let's make sure that we really stay unison to the pedal. And as you can see here in this motion that I'm doing, I'm just basically controlling the pedal as I would do with the heel down, as I'm showing. So the pedal motion doesn't change. I'm just using the heel toe technique. So the motion of the pedal stays regular, and I'm just adapting the motion, okay, to keep the swinging of the pedal alive. So let's not think of pressing down and do anything like that, but always of coming back with the toes and then raising the leg. So it's going to be coming back and then raising, coming back, raising. So here too we want to have the beater as closer to the shoe as possible every time. Of course, the more we speed it up, the less this will be possible. We will need of course to be faster, so to have less space between each stroke, but let's still avoid the pressing part. Let's not press. A lot of people do double strokes pressing with the heel toe, and that's not good for your back, because you're gonna give a lot of pressure to the back, a lot of pressure to the knees, and for that reason I don't use it for the heel, for the double strokes technique. I prefer using the slide technique, which I'm going to talk about in another episode, but still, this is also great for singles. You can alternate singles, so it's going to be heel, heel, toe, toe. So for example, okay, so it's also good for singles. It's also good for those parts where it's too fast for only the leg motion, but it's too slow for only the ankle motion, because it gives you a good feeling for the balance, because it's not like a heel up that you have to kind of find the balance on the seat. You can still have a natural balance. You have more power than only the heel down, You will just have to coordinate the motion, which is a little bit tricky to think of doing this kind of motion instead of just a regular motion. But again, it's a great technique for even only for working on your ankle, on having your ankle more elastic. Or this is exactly what happens every time we do a shifting motion between leg and heel down or heel up technique. It's that fraction in between. So it's a really great workout, and it's a great technique to use for drumming. This week workout is going to start just tapping on the floor, educating our brain to understand the difference between the leg motion that we have to do, and then adding the tap with the heel, with the ankle motion. So having this motion, we don't need to go too fast. We don't. That's not the goal of this part of the exercise for now. So we're going to do 60 seconds our right leg, 60 seconds our left leg. We can also work 60 seconds unison, always sitting, taking advantage of all the sits so that we don't have to keep our legs too raised. And then 60 seconds alternated. Then we will go on the pedals and we will apply the same thing without the spring. Because if we will play straight from the floor, tapping the floor to the pedal with the spring is going to be a very strong external force that we have to deal with. So it's good that we do this step in between, as we usually do, of just controlling the rebound, the bouncing of the pedal, without having to deal with the need of the spring that's going to put a lot of pressure on the motion. So we can start very slow. Let's remember to stay unison with the board of the pedal, not to kick it. We will play 60 seconds, right foot, 60 seconds, left foot. We can also do 60 seconds alternated, sitting a little bit more on the stool so that we don't have balance issues. Let's make sure we don't play a shuffle kind of feel like in this way. But we keep our notes, the spaces between the notes, very even. Okay, and then once we get to a speed that will allow us to work at the minimum speed that the spring requires, so in this case this is going to be the minimum speed, we can put the springs back up, because it means that our body is ready to, is prepared to work on that speed, on the minimum speed that the pedal requires. And we do the same thing, 60 seconds right foot, and we can start speeding it up. 60 seconds left foot, 60 seconds alternating. And then we can put this motion on a regular timing pulse, so on a click track, and play 4 bars of right foot, 4 bars of left foot, 4 bars alternated for 60 seconds, and then increase the speed and repeat. Let's see how this works. okay, so with this exercise we will find another technique that we can use for speed, but also a great workout to make our ankle even more elastic, to work on the up and down motion, so to work on also on the range of motion of our ankle, to improve the control, to improve power, speed. So it's a great exercise. It benefits a lot of things. So it's also great for the shifting between the leg motions and the ankle motions. So it really is a great exercise to improve your skills on drums. I always do it even if I don't actually apply it in my playing then, because it's such a great workout. It's such a great gym for the ankle, and it really did a big difference on my techniques and my motions. So have a good workout, and I'll see you next week with another lesson.